Hello friends, it's Kathy Clement with Kathy by Design. Welcome to Make and Take Tuesday. This is a weekly series that I do here on my YouTube channel, and this year in 2024 we are doing a tag of the month on the first Tuesday of every month. So it's time to make our tag. Today we're working with Stamperia Voyages Fantastique. This is an older collection, but Stamperia recently came out with some additional bits and pieces that really amped up the fun. This is a steampunk collection, and I get it, steampunk is one of those things you either love or you don't love. I find I have to be in the mood for it, and today I'm kind of feeling in the mood. I've been wanting to work with this for a while. I have the 12 by 12 mega pad, and this is just a really classic vintage grunge type steampunk collection with the teals and the browns and the coppers. And I thought it would be fun to do sort of a steampunk tag, like maybe even a tag folio. So that, and then I have the adhesive chipboard. These are new. And I love these pieces, and they add a lot of fun. And then also the die cut, the chipboard die cuts. And this is all kinds of like trains, gears, words, images. I love the steampunk man and the steampunk lady, and then hot air balloons, of course, and flying machines. So that is what we're going to be working with. You will also need to pull out from your stash some craft tags. I'm using Graphic 45 craft tags. I have one large tag. I have one regular tag. I have one square tag, and these are the ones they released with the laser cuts, but we're going to cover that up so you'll never know. And one ATC tag. And then, of course, you're going to need to cut those out, your tag dies. The regular tag, the square tag, the large tag, and the ATC tag. You can cover these without using the tags. You just measure width and height in case you don't have them. But these are one of my most used tools. So if you haven't invested in them yet, I highly recommend it. And then I also have their other dies that they came out with. I have this, I have a really strong magnet in there. And we're going to be using the file folder and the little policy envelope dies as well. Of course, you don't have to, you can still make this project even if you don't have those, but if you do have them, it will be very nice. And then I've also brought on an old embossing folder. This is a Spellbinders. This is when they called them Impossibilities. This is a 3D embossing die. I have this one in my stash. Somewhere I had the cover for it. It's called Gears, but so pretty simple. I'm pretty sure this has been discontinued, but I will link in the supply list to another gear embossing die that you can substitute in for this. I just used it because I had it. And then I'm going to be using my Nouveau Mousse in the Cosmic Brown and in the, what is this called? Pacific Teal. These are great steampunk colors. So let me clear this off my desk and we'll get things started. So what are we going to make? How about this, guys? This is the most fun little tag that I've made in a while. It's actually a folio, steampunk themed because of our papers. I put some burlap string and seam binding ribbon and some flowers from my stash and a key and clock and coin dangle charm. I've added metal embellishments and some little seed beads in the center of this lens. And then this great steampunk clock, and it has a ribbon closure. So this comes around like this. This square tag flips open, and then we have a really cute little folio, tag-shaped folio, tucked into this belly band over here. Here's a pocket. Inside the pocket, we have another little pocket with a bookmark and a little folio. And inside the folio is our policy envelope with a couple of tags cut out and put inside. So this is just a really fun, interactive tag folio. And look at that great embossing in the background. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's really fun. But flip it over and there's a whole other side. We've got another pocket here with a cute little tag. And then we've got this file folder folio. Remove the clip. And inside we've got a pull-out page, room for a couple of photos here, and then a little pop-up element and a bunch of fussy cuts here. And it says, there is nothing like a dream to create the future. And then there's room to do a little journaling over here. So this is just a super fun, slightly funky, slightly grunge, a little bit steampunk, interactive tag folio for our tag of the month. Our ribbon closure, the long one comes around this way, and then we just tie it up and we're good. So super fun, super easy. It's not a complete beginning to end tutorial. I'm going to show you how to assemble the folio parts and do the basics, and then most of the decorating I'm leaving up to you on your own. So you can decorate it according to your own taste, or you can use this piece as an inspiration piece. But you'll learn how to create all these great tag flaps and pockets and all of that in the tutorial that is following. So don't go away. We'll be right back with the tutorial. The first thing you're going to want to do is die cut all your tags. And I just pulled papers that I liked from the collection, and I ran them through my embossing folder. And you've seen me do this before. Every embossing folder has a flat side and a raised side. So you put your ink on the flat side and lay your tag on the raised side. And then spray your tag with water, close the lid, and run it through. And you get this great raised design. So go ahead and do that. You're going to need 2 of the large tags. You're going to need 2 of the ATC tags. You're going to need 2 of the square tags. And you're going to need 1 of the regular tag. And I cut this in 2 pieces. So I have the Eiffel Tower at the top, and I have this piece on the bottom, and that's because we're going to score this and turn this into a pocket. Here is my policy envelope and my file folder. So this is going to be sort of like a tag folio. It's going to be really fun. I'm going to go ahead and use ground espresso to ink all my edges. And if you're not familiar with how to ink edges, I'll just give you a really quick demo. Pick up the ink on your blending tool and then just brush it lightly along the sides. And you get this wonderful little shadowed edge. You're not trying to ink the whole tag. You're just trying to add a frame to the outside edge. So go ahead and get all your pieces inked, and then we'll move to the next step. Before we start putting this little tag folio together, I want to go ahead and add a little more ink and then add some of our Nouveau Mousse. So I'm picking up some ground espresso on my blending tool, and I'm just going lightly over the embossed images. to add a little more dimension and definition. And that teal is still going to pop through, but it just gives it a little more of a grunge and a little more detail. All right. Now that I've done that, I'm going to come in with my mister bottle, and I'm just going to hit this with some water droplets and set that aside while I work on this tag. The ink that I used on the embossing folder was Gathered Twigs, which is a lighter color than the Ground Espresso. So you still get some definition between the two. And as you can see, my embossing folder left gaps, so it kind of works. I just want this to have sort of an industrial grunge look. All right, I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to come in with my heat tool. I just want you to see, I'm going to use a paper towel. I'm going to pick up these larger droplets, and you see how it leaves this really neat, distressed, really beautiful, right? So I'm going to do the same thing on this one. And then I'm going to come in with my heat tool and just dry my paper before I apply the mousse. So I've got my teal and my cosmic brown, and I'm just going to lightly spritz these with water because mine have set for a while and sometimes they get a little dried out. But you don't have to throw these away because they're still good. So I've picked this up on my finger, and I'm just going to come in and add, I'm just rubbing very lightly over the embossed designs. And I don't care if it's perfect or not. This is grunge and steampunk, and sometimes perfect actually interferes with the effect that you're going for. So I'm just having fun adding this. And I don't know if the camera is picking up the shine from this, but it gives it a really great copper, faux copper look. I'm going to bring this one in now. And of course, you don't have to do this. If you just want your tag to be a plain background, you can absolutely do that. I just like to show you different ways that you can use the tools that you might have in your stash, because it's fun to play, and it's good to play. You discover a lot of neat things when you play. Okay, I like that, so I'm going to put the cosmic brown away. I've wiped off my finger, and now I'm going to come in with this teal. And this, we're just going to like flick. I'm not rubbing, I'm just flicking. But it leaves that look of patina, which is so fun. And this is the fastest way I have found to achieve this sort of effect. These Nouveau mousses are really fun to play with. And of course you could do spray, you could do distress crayons, you could do paint. I've done this same sort of thing with paint. Just, you know, whatever you have in your stash, get it out and use it. All right, I really like that. See, it's subtle, but it's there. All right, let's add some flicks. All right, I'm really happy with that. That looks terrific to me. So let me wash my hands. I'll be right back. Now we're going to start assembling our tag. So I'm going to start with our regular tag, and I'm going to score this at 4 1/4, and then fold it. And I will come back in and re-ink this edge so that we are consistent. All right, so set that aside. So the idea here is we're going to have a series of flips and flaps on this tag. So I want this Celebrate tag to go across the front and I'm just eyeballing this. I want my grommet to come over the top, so I'm going to make a little pencil mark right here. And that's where I want to score this. So really it's almost 4 1/2. It's just a tick off from 4 1/2. All right. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this. And I'm taking score tape. And the reason I'm using score tape is because those little laser cut letters want to tear or pop out. And that will help keep them secure. I'm going to remove this liner, and I'm going to run this flap and see how that score tape is going to catch that little laser cut bit right there. And then on the front side, the paper is going to cover that. So this is probably 1.5 inches from the top of the dome. And that's where I put this tag, all right? On the bottom, I want this tag to be a pocket. I'm going to go ahead and round out my corners. If you have a 3/8 inch corner rounder, it's perfect. I don't, so I used a 1/4 inch corner rounder just to kind of help those corners match a little better. There we go. Hairball off of there. And I want this to go here. But I want it to be a pocket. So what we're going to do is we're going to add gussets to the back of this tag. Gussets are just folded pieces of paper. I usually go about 1 inch wide. For this part of the tag, these are 1 inch by 2 3/4. And you can see I've folded it in half. And we're going to glue it so that the folded edge is against the outside edge. And I'm going to center this up like this. All right. And I've glued that one down. See, here it is, 1 inch by 2 3/4. Fold it in half. Place your adhesive on one side. Put the folded edge against the outside edge. All right. And then down here, these are 1 by 1. So this one's going to go right here. And you can see I just didn't want to mess around with the rounded corners, and that is why I didn't go the full length, but they're going to make great pockets anyway. All right. So let's bring in our tag. I think I want this to be the front of my tag. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. I'm adding quite a lot of adhesive because the embossing, you know, it doesn't always catch. I'm also going to go ahead and glue this piece down. In fact, I'm going to glue it down first. All right. I'm going to come in with my bone folder and just crease right there and fold. All right. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to glue this piece over that. This is the front of our tag, and you can use whichever piece you like better. I'm mostly pressing the areas that have not been embossed with my bone folder because I don't want to flatten any of that nice texture. All right, and I'm just rubbing my hand over it. So now let's take this one and we're going to put our adhesive on it. It's going to go right here. And I know we have a tiny bit of that laser letter showing, but we're not going to worry about that. And this is going to go right here, like that. So now we have this little flap here. Flip this over. All right. And this is going to get glued down like this. Oops, straight is always good, people. There we go. All right, so now open this flap, come in with your pocket, and this is going to go right here. Turn these flaps in. Glue them down. And now we're going to glue down our pocket cover here. And this is going to wrap around to the front. I'm just using my bone folder to crease that edge a little bit. And I'm folding that flap up. And now this piece can glue down, and we'll put a word or some sort of trim or something there to cover up that little seam, so you won't even know it was there. All right. Then on the back side, we have our little ATC tag. And we're going to go ahead and glue this down. Okay. Our file folder, that's hard to say today, is going to go right here along the edge. And I'm just going to put my adhesive here. And I'm lining this up with the edges of that square tag. And we did cover up a good bit of our embossing, but you can still see the really cool gears. And then this little tag will hold that from flapping around. So there's a good beginning. All right, friends, I'm going to go ahead and dress up the front of our little tag. And what I've done is I've taken a long piece of seam binding ribbon. I'm going to say this is like 2.5 feet, maybe, at least 2 feet. And I just folded it in half, looped it through, and ran it around. I'll show you how that works in a minute, but I put it through the grommet. And to fit on our front cover, I trimmed out this piece from the paper pad. This is just over 3 by just under 3 1/4. And we're just going to glue this directly to the cover. Like this. And the color of that seam binding is Noble Peacock. I got it from really reasonable ribbon. Then I have this little adhesive piece, this really fun steampunk bicycle. And this is adhesive, but I always add a little extra just to make sure. All right, so there's that. Now what this will do, this long piece wraps around the back, and it will tie over here on the side, okay? So that's the closure mechanism. I also ran some ribbon through the top. So let's flip this open. Here's our little flap page on the inside. And for this, I cut out 2 of the tags, joined together, scored between them, and I made a belly band. All right, we're going to take this word steampunk and put it on the front of our tag. This is a chipboard piece. This is not an adhesive piece. So this is just going to go like this. And then this is actually a piece of the cover that is 4 3/8 by 2 5/8. And I've scored 1/2 inch flaps on either side. And we're going to glue this down like a little belly band. Right, sort of in the middle. And then we're going to slip our little tag folio inside. And then on the cover of our little belly band, let's put our, well, actually, let's put this big steampunk guy because we can. You want to make sure you just put your adhesive in the center of your belly band and then glue your steampunk man down here in the center like this. I also had this little piece of a border that I trimmed to the same width as our tag front, and I want to fill in this little blank spot here. I just thought it looked kind of interesting. So there we go. Just like that. I just feel like that adds a lot of character and interest right there. Now, to go in this big pocket, of course, we have our policy envelope, and I didn't do the whole string tie thing. I just cut out a couple of tags, inked them up, and they fit perfectly in the policy envelope. So that's very, very simple. And we're not going to do anything to the front of this policy envelope because it's super cute. But I also wanted to create a larger insert to go inside this pocket. So I trimmed out this image of our bicycle man. He's almost 6 inches if you cut from margin to margin. And then I trimmed him to a height of 6 3/4. And then I scored him at 2 1/2. And it creates this little flap. To go on the flap, I created a pocket. And this is another little image that I trimmed out to 3 1/4 because you don't have much more width than that. And then the height is also, the height is 3 1/2 because I wanted to get this whole flying machine image in here. And then I created a little gusset for the bottom edge. And this is going to go down as a pocket. So 1/2 inch flaps scored on the side and a little gusset on the bottom. And this is going to go right down at the bottom here. Like that. And then I trimmed out this tag from the 12 by 12, and this goes in here. And then this whole thing slips nicely inside this pocket, and our little policy envelope can go on the inside. So that's a fun little feature right there. On the pocket, I glued down this chipboard clock, and then I put foam tape on time machine and glued it just below that. Here's a little scrap of border piece that I used to cover up that little place where we joined the 2 papers. All right. And that finishes the front. Isn't this a fun tag? I love things like this. I don't know. It's kind of like opening and discovering. It's really fun. So I think we can put that in there safely now. And close this. And then flip this over. And on the back, of course, we have our file folder and our little pocket for our little tag. I'm going to bring in some stuff that I've prepared here. We're just about done. I cut out from the 12 by 12 this 3 inch by 5 1/4 inch balloon image piece. And this is going to sit right on the cover of our file folder, like that. And then this is the other part of that piece. Whoops, only I have it upside down. This is the other part of that piece, and we're going to open this up. And this is going to go on the left-hand side as a little journaling spot. Then on the right-hand side, I trimmed out this strip. It's 12 inches wide by 5 1/4 inches tall, and I scored every 3 1/2 inches. So you end up with this little flap. We're going to put our adhesive on the back. And glue this down. Then I brought in a couple of little magnets. I want one right here, and I want the other one will go on top. Go, fold this over. Now we've got a little magnetic closure there, okay? And I might come in and cover those up with just little punched out circles or something, but this will pull out, and you've got room for some photos here, and you've got room for photos here. So that's really fun. And then this closes, and our little tag goes in the pocket to hold everything shut. So this is a really fun little ditty here, I think. I'll probably add some dangle charms, and I might be able to find a place to add some flowers and gears and things like that. But I want to make sure that I tie this up, because if I don't, I might put something where it shouldn't be, and then my closure is ruined. But there's the basics, guys, and you can go in and decorate yours. There's lots of cut aparts, there's lots of chipboard pieces, there's lots of opportunity to get creative. All right, friends, here it is, all finished. I love the way this turned out. I've added a few flowers and a little burlap bow to our top up here, some metal embellishments on the front, and this great ribbon tie closure. So this flap comes out. Here's a little belly band with a tag folio. Here's our pocket on the front, and in the pocket on the front we have this great pocket and bookmark combo with a nice big photo inside, and there's room on the back. You could add photos. Then our little policy envelope with our tags. Super simple, really cute. I liked this better tucked inside this large folio than tucked into the back. And then look how great the embossing looks. Here's a little dangle charm up here. So lots of fun. Lots and lots of little elements here. So on the back side, here's our little tag in the pocket. I just dressed it up with one of the chipboard pieces and flowers. And on the back, I die cut this clock, cut this part off the side, and then put that here beside our image. This little clip holds our file folder closed. This opens out. You've got room for journaling here. Here's a little magnetic flap closure for a pull-out page. So room for a couple of photos here, but then this folds out like this with all these great fussy cuts and a little simple pop-up element in the center. And then this folds over, and there you go. That is that. This goes in here to help hold that flap closed. This goes up here to help hold the folio closed. So that is our tag of the month for February 2024 using Stamperia Voyages Fantastique. It really was a fun little ditty to make. I hope you will enjoy it as well. I will put a linked supply list on my blog and then the link to my blog in the description box below this video. So you can pop over there to see where to find all these various embellishments. And if you enjoy this, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love to have you along for the journey. We have a lot of fun here and I've got some fun things planned for this year. Before I go, many of you were asking me how to become part of the Button Farm Club Facebook group. Just go to Button Farm Club. In fact, if you look in the community tab of my channel, you'll see I posted a photo with information there. Ask to join the group, and then you'll be asked to answer a couple of questions just so we know you're not trying to sell vitamins or some other thing that you're actually interested in creating. And go ahead and get signed up because on Valentine's Day, I'm going to do my very first Folio tutorial in the group. And it will be a premiere event, which means I will record, it won't be a live, I'll record the video in advance, but then I'll be in the chat box and we can talk about things as I do the tutorial. So that will be really, really fun. So I think that's all the information. I'll be back on Thursday with Throwback Thursday. Thanks so much for joining me and go get your craft done. Bye.